Oh, hey, what's happening there, YouTube? It's Brian House here for Housemade, and this week in the workshop, we've had so many things going on. We're just gonna tick them off and go down the list. Number one is worked on some chisel grinds with Brent on a Tanto that we've been working on in the workshop, and we're using the True Tilt table for that. Brent is a master at creating awesome bevels, figuring out how the angles work and all of that, and the True Tilt table is assisting him in that. If you're not familiar with the True Tilt attachment, you can go back. I'll put a link down in the description so you can go watch the original video of when we prototyped it and put it all together. It's really truly an amazing addition to the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project. I also got this really cool ball mount in the mail from TS Steel. His name is Trey. He's kind of an inventor guy, kind of like myself, and he makes stuff like this. And I'll tell you what, when he made enough of them to put them up for sale, I jumped on it. I bought like one of the first ones, and I can't wait to use it. I'm actually going to put this on my new Fireball table when I get that all assembled so that we have the ability to mount a vise that'll have an articulating head on it. Thank you, Trey, for that. I will put a link down to his Instagram. Actually, he has a website, so I'll link to his website so you can go there and find one for yourself if you're interested in that. Also, I'm starting the process to work on a vibration table. I've got this vibrating little jumping bean thing that I got from our friends over at Vever. And I don't know exactly how the design is going to work just yet, but I need to be able to vibrate the refractory while it's in the mold for the ribbon burners and also the doors eventually. You'll see that later in the video of me making the forge doors. But that's castable refractory, and I need a vibration table or some sort of device to vibrate everything while I'm working on it, and this little jumping bean thing is going to be perfect for that, so I started wiring that up. Also this week we've been prototyping the forge doors. This is a super important component to any forge, and it seems like a lot of people overlook this one really important piece of a forge, and that is how do you close up the 2,000 plus Fahrenheit hole that's in this thing. And a lot of people do it with fire brick and angle iron and all this stuff, and it's hard to move, and fire brick breaks and cracks and all of that, and I've had that happen to me numerous times over the course of the years. So we came up with this hinged barn door sliding system. I'm going to show that off in a little bit. But then also the other challenge was, how do you make this easy to flat pack and ship, and then also tell someone how to bend it into shape? So what we've come up with is ultimately this, which is a flat cut, laser cut steel. It's I think it's 10 gauge or 12 gauge. I don't remember. It's 0.1046. 0.1046 or 1045, whatever it is. It's just under 1/8 of an inch, and so it's easy enough to bend because we put relief cuts in it. And then when you bend it all together, it's kind of like a bowl or a cup that holds castable refractory. So you can mix up Castrolite 30 and pour it in there. It'll solidify, and then you've got this really nice hanging slidable. It's got little tabs on it so you can move the doors left to right with your tongs. And it actually becomes kind of a nice system so that you don't have to worry about it. I do know it's a consumable, right? I mean, eventually over time, these things, depending on how much you use your forge, eventually they're going to burn out. But the good news is that they're easy to remake, so you can go on my website and buy them when we have them available, and you'll be able to purchase them separately. The other part of that is I thought, well, this design works so well on the Apollo forge, maybe what we ought to do is come up with a tab system so you can add it to your own forge. And down the road, maybe we'll come up with a couple of packages for people so that they can buy their own doors and a little rod so they can hang it on there and use it on their own forge. A couple interesting things about Castrolite: you got to mix it 20% by weight. I did a lot of research. I looked at all the paperwork and the data on it from Harbor Walker, and there's different amounts of Castrolite, different amounts of pounds of Castrolite. When you reach a certain threshold, you got to mix it differently. But what I found is that if you mix it 20% by weight, it actually is a perfect mixture for this application. So when you're pouring it into the door or you're making a ribbon burner itself, that is the perfect mix. I mean, it just pours really nice. It creates a nice, nothing floats to the top. It doesn't seem too thin. that kind of thing. And I have a strong feeling that that's the correct way to do it. Anyway, for this application, right? And those are rated for 3,000 Fahrenheit. So the forge doors can withstand 3,000 Fahrenheit, and the bricks on the inside can withstand up to 2,700 Fahrenheit. Now, will you go that hot if you're going to be working forge welding steel? Probably not. I wouldn't suggest that. I forge weld at like 2,400 Fahrenheit, and that does me just fine. The reason I'm using Castellite 30 is, I love to over-engineer things. That's kind of my deal. But I also would like this ribbon burner to be a functional component for a foundry moving forward. Melting aluminum, brass, possibly even Woots steel. My buddy Spencer over at Heavy Forge makes Woots steel using a forced air burner, and I kind of want to experiment with that at some point in the future. And so this ribbon burner that I've developed is rated for those temperatures, so you could potentially pop it out of your forge, move it over to a foundry body, fire it, and make that kind of steel. Now, I've never done that before, but that's kind of the concept, the way that I'm moving forward with this project. But listen, guys, I appreciate you so much, and if you got something out of today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you click that little bell, you'll get a notification every time I upload something to YouTube. There's many ways to support what I do. The best way is to go to housemade.us, buy pieces, parts, and plans for the Revolution 2x72 belt grinder project, and soon to be the Apollo Forge project. I hope to see you on the next video. My name is Brian House, and this has been House Made.